My name's Michael Fordyce. I am the author of the MySmartStart podcast, and basically we just talk about everything to do with property, whether it's first home buyers, tax, finance, investment. So just general chit chat about all the information we might need to know about the property industry. The reason we engaged Pat and Impact Podcasting was we were looking at starting a podcast, and I didn't really know anything about it. Although I'd listened to plenty of podcasts in the past, I really didn't know where to start. So that was the initial reason that I engaged Pat. The good thing about working with Pat is he made the process really simple. It was a very easy process where he came out and explained exactly what a podcast does and why you would have a podcast for your business. Spoke to me about how that podcast will allow you to grow your business, which I wasn't 100% sure of, whether it would or how it would grow. I just heard that you can do them. And then he was really approachable, really helped me, give me tips on different things and how to say it and what to say, and made sure that I felt relaxed about the podcasting process, so that whenever I was making a mistake or something like that, I knew that he had my back in the background. And when he ran through the software, it was really simple and easy to use, and I was able to sort of remember how to do it the next couple of times. And after I'd sort of done the sort of 3 or 4 podcasts, it just became easier. So yeah, the information that Pat gave us in relation to the equipment that we should be using was basically top notch. So we made sure that when we were discussing, Pat basically gave us a couple of different options on the software and microphones and the buffers and editing tools and stuff that we could use, sort of from the lower grade stuff up until kind of like the professional stuff. We ended up going with something that was pretty close to the top end, because we wanted to make sure that we had the best product, and it was going to be a podcast that we did long term. We wanted to make sure that we were sort of getting best value for money. Turns out that the stuff that he suggested was just on point, completely good, clarity, sound, stuff like that. Just very easy to use and manipulate as well, which for someone who's not super tech savvy, that's always important. The process with the editing and how Pat takes care of uploading it to all the different platforms, Songify and Spotify, and iTunes and things like that, it just makes my job heaps easier. It's hard enough sometimes working through a 30-minute podcast without the worry of then having to edit it and put the music in and cut and paste my ums and ahs, which is can be a few when you're speaking just to a microphone for 30 minutes. And then always getting the finished product, which I then listen to before I give the approval for Pat to put up online, is always good as well, because it always gives me that certainty that the finished product is good before it goes online. What it does during the recording process is it just gives me freedom to not be too concerned when I do skip over my words, or if I lose track of what I'm trying to say. And often I'll even talk directly to Pat through doing the recording, and then he just obviously cuts those and splices it in where he needs to. Just makes the process so much easier. The timing around the editings for the podcast is really good. It doesn't lag. There's not a great deal of lag period, so we usually get a turnaround time of about a week. And the consistency that we get across, or that I've gotten across all of the podcasts, is really good. So similar intro music, similar outro music, where we're putting the little ad break in the middle, and how the editing has been done, so to make sure that it sounds fluid and it sounds flowy, but also sounds like it is me having the conversation rather than just me up and getting cut in and cut out. So the editing is top notch. The loading up is brilliant, so really happy. Because obviously the good thing about getting it done, edited professionally, and obviously Pat from Impact does a great job of that, does make me sound like a professional. And as it goes, most people hate hearing their own voice recording, and so I actually end up getting used to hearing myself on the podcast, so it's good. If you're thinking about starting a podcast, and even if you've got a little bit of an idea, I'd listened to hundreds of podcasts in the past, it's definitely important to seek a professional. I mean, I say that in my own podcast as it is. You'd never go out and buy an asset without seeking professional advice. You wouldn't even go and get a new set of tyres without doing that. So I think it's exactly the same in this case. You're going to get a much better product, you're going to get a polished product, and you're going to have a higher chance of that podcasting that podcast impacting the people that it needs to in order to drive your business to where it wants to go. I would 100% recommend Pat and the Impact Podcast guys, so absolutely.